I just finished reading We Were Never Really Friends by Timothy King. This was an ARC read, so Timothy, thanks for the early copy to give you this review. This is a slasher novel. It follows a group of friends going to an island for a little weekend getaway because one of the friends is a billionaire and he owns the island. He bought it for his wife. And shortly after they get there, a killer appears and starts hacking away at the group. And a lot of things get revealed about the friend group through their interactions. They, as the title suggests, were never really friends. They're all pretty terrible people. I really enjoyed this. It was like a 5 out of 5 up until the final chapter, which took it down to a 4 for me. But like, I still really love this and I can't recommend it enough. But let's get into all my thoughts and everything with this because there's quite a few. First of all, the characters. Timothy King, I've read Seven Rabbits, which I've reviewed, and I love that book so much. It's so good. And then I did an ARC read for Rideshare, which is a book he co-wrote with James Cain. I have a review of that, which just came out like not that long ago. And I think he's so good at fast-paced horror. He is so good at balancing the thrills and kills and scares while also having character development and finding the balance there and finding ways to insert gaps so he can focus on the characters and develop them further. The book kind of sells itself as like, hey, these are some terrible people and they're going to get the axe and you're going to have a blast with that. And it is true, it is accurate, but I think it's a little bit more in depth than I think I was anticipating, and I think the way it was sold. There's at least one character who's like, you're like, okay, this is a decent person. Everyone else is terrible, but I think there is like a depth to certain characters that's like, some people are just terrible people, but some characters, just like in real life, they have a little bit of humanity still in there, and you can see sometimes when you get into their POV when they recognize they're doing something bad and they're just like, no, I shouldn't, and they're grappling with it and dealing with these complex emotions. Unfortunately, they keep making the bad decisions, and you go, you're a bad person. But there's some characters who I'm like, oh, I can see there's like hope for you if you were to survive this and you could maybe become a better person. And some people, they might try and then revert back to being a terrible person. Some people may not change whatsoever. I think the characters are so strong and complex in that, and then just their dynamics is so fun. These awful people, sometimes when they're having fun and you're like, okay, we're having a good time. At other times it's like people are seething because they see things that are betraying them or whatever, and the drama of it is so fun. I honestly could have gone for like another 100 pages of just the character stuff, like before all the violence and everything happens. But man, when it happens, it goes. This book, it doesn't start slow at all because I think the chapters are fairly like not too lengthy and not too wordy, so you constantly feel like you're moving, but once a drop of blood is shed, it just zooms by. The kills are so visceral and brutal. Like, I love the way he writes violence. It's just visceral, and that's what I look for, and I think that's what's good violent writing and action comes from something that makes you feel, and it's not just like you're like, wow, that was a lot of blood. You go, wow, I feel that pain or that blood and everything, you know. I could guess the killer pretty easily. I think this is like one of those like, who's behind the mask, but it's like it is kind of obvious. It kind of lets it on early on, but then when the big reveal happens, there's a twist to it or whatever that I think is really satisfying while also being predictable. And I don't think predictability is a criticism. It has to be a criticism. I think predictability can just be, yeah, some things are predictable, but it doesn't necessarily take away from the reveal or anything like that. And this is definitely a case of, this is not a surprising book regarding like most of it, but it still just hits, and it's just effective. It's effective writing and storytelling, and that's ultimately what matters. I have a few critiques. I think the way he transitions POVs, there's no real transition, actually. It's just like you're in a character's head, you feel what they feel internally, you're getting their thoughts, and then the next paragraph is immediately someone else. And I always have a gripe when books do that, because it takes me out of like being immersed in that character's little bubble, you know? And then when we transition, we need like a scene break, or every like this chapter is that character's chapter, getting their POV in one chapter, the next chapter is another character's POV. Or if we're going to do multiple POVs in one chapter, you got to do scene breaks or something like that, just to break it up so you can go, okay, we're with a new character and it's not so jarring. And as I mentioned, the final chapter, I can't talk about it because obviously spoilers and stuff like that, but it just does something that I'm not usually the biggest fan of. I think you really gotta sell it and really gotta execute it well to get me on board with this specific decision that he made. But I get the decision. It's not like it comes out of left field or anything like that. Like I understand the decision. I have mixed feelings about said decisions, why it's a 4 out of 5, not a 5 out of 5, because it was like right there, and this is a Timothy King book, so I kind of knew what to expect regarding the chapter before that, regarding the climax and how the climax was going to conclude, and that was what I kind of expected, and in a good way, and really liked. But then we get to the final chapter, it's more like an epilogue in some ways, and that, like, it doesn't sour it. I think more puts me in like a wobbly territory, I guess is the best way to describe it. But I still really love this book. Timothy King is an auto-buy author for me. I don't know if anyone's doing fast-paced horror quite as well as he is, because, man, it's just such a sprint, but like so perfectly paced. I love his work. I cannot wait to read more from him. We Were Never Really Friends by Timothy King releases on May 12th, so go pre-order that. And also from me, you can check out my book Unfold, and you can check out my Substack, which I post on every Sunday.